Hello and welcome to Rare Cuts Media Society, the podcast that looks at hidden media gems with way too many Rob Lows. As always, your hosts, I'm Andrew Jagoda, and with me we've got Rob Lachick. How are you today, Rob?
I am excellent. I'm ready for a nipple whipping.
Oh, good. Can we put that in here? I don't even know. That's fine. I mean, it
We'll
was
leave
on
it.
the movie.
Well, yeah. And of course we've got Mike Ross. How are you today, Mike?
Congratulations. You've made it this far.
Now we're offending Russian people. No,
Well, that's
This whole movie offends Russian people. What are you
it
talking
offends
about?
everybody. It offends everybody.
Yeah, I was about
Let's
to say,
be honest.
nobody
this whole
is
movie offends everybody.
left out this one.
No.
and Eric Hathorn. How are you today, Eric?
I'll just say like a Bond villain. I told you guys my plan early on, what I was going to do, and that I was going to pick this thing. And I picked it. And I almost got away with it too. But no, anyways. Yeah, I'm doing all right. I'm ready to talk about this one.
All right, so we are finishing up our James Bond sidecar arc. So, of course, it is Eric Hathorn's pick this month, and I will let him take it away.
All right. So, as if you've been listening and following along, you know that Andrew had this like pick for the theme, and he picked this James Bond sidecar thing. And, that's really cool if you have someone like Sean Connery or Pierce Brosnan, even, who didn't get rolled for, or Roger Moore,
you
or
rolled
Daniel Craig.
Millhouse.
And so like we're picking these odd projects from former James Bond actors, and I picked the oddest James Bond, which, like, his own film is pretty much an odd project, even though it was his James Bond film. So when we rolled the dice, I got the dud, George Lazenby. And so as pick 4 out of 4, the final pick, I had to do a little digging, a little deeper than On Her Majesty's Secret Service, and that led me to something pretty strange, and that's the 1996 interactive movie video game experiment known as Fox Hunt. So Fox Hunt is this weird, wild mashup of like a 90s full motion video gaming thing and like a spy parody. It's got tons of like super exaggerated slapstick comedy. There's some licensed music, and Mark Mothersbaugh from Devo actually provided the score for some of this. So that was cool. And then there was like Gary Coleman and Rob Lowe. And am I selling it to you guys yet?
Well, Rob Lowe
Sounds
didn't
good.
sell me on St. Elmo's Fire, so that's not really it.
Oh man, it's the Rob Lowe curse. No.
Both of them must have really been hard up for money for them to do this film, because this is pretty bad.
What you talking about, Rob?
Right up front, I'll admit it's really bad. But yes, okay, so George Lazenby is in it. He is in it, and he actually has a very Bond-like supporting role. And he pops up, like literally pops up in different places throughout the movie. So this is one of those weird things where it's like shot like a movie, but it was sold as a game for the PlayStation and PC. But because they shot it like a movie, because you're kind of like playing through movie scenes in that full motion video thing, they later recut it into a feature film. So it's like in my notes here, I said that it's like a half forgotten, half cult curiosity thing, but really I think it's pretty much all forgotten. I don't know how big of a cult following it actually has, but I feel like it should have some sort of a cult following. And it's like a perfect example of like the weird 90s media. Like I remember all sorts of things, like those board games with the VHS tapes. These are like the video movie cinematic video games. So that's what we're going to get into here today. So I first want to know, before, like, well, you guys kind of already answered it, just kind of like, let's just run this 90s monstrosity up against today's standards here, and let's see how this thing goes. So first off, let's shoot holes in the plot. let's start with the plot. Let's start with the story. I want you guys to tell me the story the best that you can, but this is what I'll start you with. Jack Fremont is just a TV trivia fan who somehow gets roped into stopping a vengeful ex-KGB TV producer. Does this story work as a spy adventure, or like is it more just like fun to enjoy and bask in the ridiculousness of it? What do you guys think?
I dislike the way you
I'll
asked
kick
it. Is
us
it
off.
just to say, is it more fun to watch it in that way? It was not fun watching.
Or
this
is it fun?
Well, that's why I think you kick us off, because I enjoyed this, and it doesn't sound like a Rob did. So if you try to take this with any grain of seriousness, you're in for a disappointment. Thankfully, I did not go into it with that, because before watching it, Eric showed us a little trailer and a clip, and I right away knew it was that I shouldn't bother with thinking of it seriously. So if you want just straight up something funny, dumb, it's great. If you want a serious spy adventure, not here.
No, not at all.
No.
Not like all those ones that you guys picked. This is something completely different.
Oh my God.
Is that all you got to say, Mike? You got more.
Dear God.
Yeah, no, I assumed it was going to be goofy, but for me, it was really disjointed from a plot standpoint. There's a lot of jumping around from place to place. I know you like to go places in your media.
I do. I like a lot of settings.
We did a lot of settings here, and it's kind of like a Bond film. I mean, there's a lot of settings in Bond films, and they jump around, but I don't know. Like
one big difference between this and a Bond film is the plot of a Bond film is cohesive and actually fits together, and characters are consistent until maybe there's like a switcheroo. It was like, it started out that like he was like this loser, and then in the span of like 3 hours, he was like this secret agent.
No, he was acting. I don't know why I'm justifying or trying to
do it.
Protect this film in any way.
Justify it.
But he was becoming anything that he has consumed in media. So all the nonsense and bad television, he's become those characters. It's the Matrix before the Matrix, like he watched the show. He became the martial artist when he needed to be a martial artist. And I know Kung Fu now. But overall for me, this movie, it feels like Glenn or Glenda. There's a lot of randomness to it. This feels like something that Ed Wood would have created
or enjoyed.
If someone came to him and they were like, "Hey, we want you to do a spy movie," I feel like this is something he'd probably create, and he would probably definitely emphasize nipple whippings.
The count's up to 2 now. The count is up to 2. No. That is in the movie, though. That is from the movie. That is a scene that
he's
happens.
Been a bad boy.
Now I'm gonna go back
there. Like why? Like what was going on there? And then it was like never come back. Like I just didn't get it.
I'm gonna try to offer an explanation for that. I'm gonna slowly justify some things here. Give this movie some justification. But so when they cut the movie from the game, there was like 5 hours worth of stuff that didn't make it in the movie because of like the alternate paths. Like a choose your own adventure novel, this kind of only represents one path. And they did have to reshoot some scenes. That's how we got Gary Coleman. Or like, I should say they had to shoot some like exposition at the beginning of the movie, which is why we got him. And so those scenes you'll notice with Gary Coleman towards the beginning don't have any of like, it doesn't have many of the other people in the movie in it. It's a lot of like setting up scenarios. Like he never meets the protagonist. Well, like, there you go. We got the bear. So let's get into the game or movie thing. Does Fox Hunt, did it feel like a video game with movie sequences, or like a movie with like those interactive, like, could you see where like the pauses would be to interact with the game? Or did you notice things that were like, that's the game?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. There's a lot of moments where like he's just kind of randomly looking around or interacting with something, and then and it that felt like a game, without a doubt. And then like every time he was going into different areas and discovering the TV with Agent Fox's kind of memo or whatever, video memo that he's passing along to the person discovering the secrets that he's left behind. Like I was getting some real Revolution X vibes of these guys are maggots. They're putting chemicals in our food. Like, because you get in your Aerosmith car and they pop up on the little telescreen. That's what it felt like.
Yes.
For me, the fight scenes felt like a video game, because it would be like, oh, look, he did that kick. Oh, look, he did that kick again. And, so I could definitely see it in those. And then just like the randomness of like people suddenly getting shot that you didn't even know were there. But overall, it felt to me like a movie starring a video game character. I don't want to say acting, but lack of acting ability. And his sudden, like Mike was saying earlier, his sudden ability to do things he couldn't do before. It felt like a video game character leveling up as the movie went on.
I buy that more. I buy that. One thing I will say about that, I didn't even bother looking up the actor's name, but it
Andrew Bowen.
Okay. Well, Andrew,
I love it.
I really feel that he watched Ace Ventura and was like, I am going to emulate that, but I don't have any of the charisma or ability of Jim Carrey.
So I'm going to throw another famous favorite actor of, well, especially Jagoda. So I definitely got some vibes of Jim Carrey, but I also got some vibes of one Bruce Campbell in the protagonist.
Yeah,
he had kind of like that, like big face, kind of. I think he had like the big chin, right? And he had the big personality like Bruce Campbell does. I definitely got some of those vibes from him.
But Bruce Campbell knows how to act. Like he knows how to use. He knows he's like a comic character, right? He's like a living human cartoon, and he does it very well. Where I already forgot the guy's name again, but yeah, he's not that talented.
Jack Freeman.
Well, speaking of it, back to what you were saying, I mean, the Bruce Campbell connection definitely, because of all the times where he's egotistical, like, "Hey, babe, I'm hot stuff." Definitely Bruce Campbell, but then, like Mike was saying, Jim Carrey, Andrew Bowen after this got a year's worth of work on Mad TV, much like Jim Carrey being in Living Color.
He was on the call list as a Jim Carrey type. See what we need a 90s Jim Carrey type. Get that guy.
And obviously he impersonated Keanu Reeves on Mad TV, because that's basically what he looked like in this movie.
Well, and didn't he have a a line. Like he kept saying movie pop culture type lines and stuff. I thought one of them was Keanu Reeves related. I can't remember which one. I should have wrote it down.
It's probably like Speed or something.
That was exactly it. It was Speed.
Yeah. Yes. No, I'm glad you guys brought up the Jim Carrey thing, because I noticeably like that popped out to me. As far as Bruce Campbell, I feel like Bruce Campbell was probably the guy he was on the call list until at the last minute they were like, oh wait, cut Bruce Campbell. We got Rob Lowe. He's a bigger name.
Or Bruce Campbell got the call and he's like, I'm not even doing this.
Yes. That could have happened too. I mean, Rob Lowe and Gary Coleman did it. Although in the 90s at this time, like we say Rob Lowe now, Rob Lowe post like being on Parks and Rec and like that new kind of resurgence in his career. This is like post St. Elmo's Fire, when the Brat Pack was like not a good catch in Hollywood. Like, you know what I mean? It was like they were kind of over at this point. So Rob Lowe at this point, it kind of makes sense that he would do something like this. But let's get into like the tone and the parody. We've been talking about it. So like it just, you guys, The Naked Gun just came to the theaters like a few weeks back, a month ago or whatever it's been now. The remake, it's you know, it's getting spy parody is back in our hearts and minds again, as it was back in the 80s with the original Naked Gun. Should this even be mentioned in the same breath with something like The Naked Gun as spy parody? Is it spy parody or is it something else?
No.
No. All right, moving on. No.
I mean, I'm the most likely to argue for it, so I will. I could see it being included in that kind of grouping, like Naked Gun, because it took a lot of the things that Naked Gun and other parodies took from their source. It's like, you know, oh, you got spy movies, so you have random action sequences for no reason, kind of a plot hole with a lot of other little plot holes that then just kind of, if you think about it, are like, what happened? So, I mean, yes, in that sense, I could say maybe parody, but at the same time, I do have to say maybe not, because it was just so many plot holes made from trying to make this game connect with a movie. And I watched playthrough, like all the videos from the game, and I mean, it had plot holes before they tried to make the movie. So,
and can I ask you about that a little bit? So I tried to play the game. I got the emulators. It was 3 discs. And I only ever attempted the first one, and I didn't even complete that. Now when I watched the movie, I was like, oh, cool. They like gave him like a disc reader thing. And I'm like, I wonder if that plays into the game with like, now I'm putting in disc 2 into my special disc dealy do. Technical term, I made that up. But how was the playthrough compared to the movie? I got to ask you that individual question.
So, not to give anything away for when we're scoring it, but I actually thought more about production value after watching the game, because so much of it is different that there were points where it felt like a completely different plot. Their handling of the wolf's, or not the wolf, the fox's death was completely different. His introduction to whatever her name is, Lisa, is that it?
Everyone's so forgettable. No.
Yeah. Her introduction completely different, but then watching it, it's like the movie did better with plot holes than the game did, even though it came later. And considering how many plot holes there were in the movie, that's something. So but overall, it felt like they had filmed an entire other movie. And then, I mean, through all of the editing they did, they ended up with way different than I would have thought they could. So, I mean, where do I want to go with this? I don't want to say that they were wrong for making this movie, because it taking that video game side by side to the movie, 9 times out of 10, anybody would tell you they'd rather watch the movie.
I mean, somewhat in its defense too. I mean, it's incredibly ambitious what they were trying to do. To have at that time period, to have real video on games takes up a lot of space on disc. And as I've heard you guys kind of discuss, it was really slow. I mean, we're talking PS1, not anything newer than that. And to hear that there's other scenarios and other things that were, you're able to interact with, there's a lot going on there, and it's not just an easy undertaking. And I don't know anything about the production of what happened or what transpired, where they're like, hey, we got this game we made, it's not selling, let's just release a movie of it and try to recoup some of the costs. I mean, that's what it feels like. Like, I don't think that I'd never heard of this game or movie. So I have to believe that it wasn't selling well, and they were just trying to piece something together. This is the opposite of E.T. E.T. was a wonderful film, beautiful plot, perfectly shot. And then they came out with the video game that the guy worked on for like 1 week, and then it destroyed the video game market. This is the opposite.
Yeah. But when they worked on this video game, I think too, like you said, like both of you guys were talking about how like it's an ambitious project. It had a lot going on. They like had a whole other movie. I feel like they probably spent too much time on the technology and what we can do with a video game, and not enough with the actual plot.
Bingo.
One funny thing I want to bring up is, because you kept pitching it to us even when you were just bringing up it as a possible pick for the podcast, the Gary Coleman thing, completely unnecessary. They took some of the things that they cut from the video game, would have filled it in a lot better than that little extra Gary Coleman thing, and they would have saved a lot of money, actually.
And honestly, I don't think I've ever heard anyone utter, "Oh, Gary Coleman's in that movie? I want to see that."
I don't. I mean, yeah.
I'll say the one thing which I think the game thing, or the game aspect of it, hurt it, and using too much of the game in the film. Like the best example, or maybe two examples that are kind of very closely related, was there was all of the skiing. Like that scene took too long. That was like way too long. Like he was going down the mountain, and then he goes into not just one, not two, not three, but 4 different huts where he whatever with 3 ladies and then a bear. I mean, why? And then he goes down the hill some more because he gets a gun and he starts shooting it. I mean, it felt like the fight scene in They Live. It went on too long. It needed to be like,
but Andrew, tell him why the ski scene was important in this movie.
So in the game, that takes twice as long as the movie does.
Oh my God.
Because every single time that it's like, oh, there's an enemy, it like does a pause, and then it'll have like a reticle moving across, and you're supposed to click when it's on the guy. So and then it'll cut to the scene of the guy falling down shot, and then it'll cut to another scene of him skiing, and then cut again to, oh, here's the next villain, reticle, and it goes over and over, and it's that way with all of the fights. Like when he's in the basement or whatever, and those two goons that copy each other's sentences, when he fights them, it's the same thing. It takes twice as long because of all the little cuts.
Well, I'm gonna switch gears. I'm still gonna ask you to go further in depth why skiing was so important to this. But before we do that, I'm gonna skip one. Well,
okay.
Hold on, because let's talk about that fighting scene, because we're in it good here. So like, it's not an action video game. This is not like, you know, we're not playing Street Fighter here. It's that full motion video game thing, and I hate to call it a boom, but there was kind of like a surge of these in the 90s. But like, is that why? Do you guys like? Is that why you guys think that we don't have them anymore in this sense, like these cinematic video camera shot video games?
So I think the 90s like thought, okay, let's use video, make it interactive. But the camera technology was, it couldn't translate to the PS1. Like you need a PS3 or higher to even come close. So back in those days, I mean, trying to have a movie play through, yeesh.
Very slow.
Yeah, so I think it shot itself in the foot when they said, oh yeah, we can use cameras, and no, you can't use high quality movie cameras for PS1. Oof.
And has anyone ever played like a full motion video game?
Yes.
What did you play?
So
other than
I was
Fox
trying to
Hunt?
think. I still cannot remember the name of the game, and maybe
Let's try to figure it out.
will. We could try to figure it out. So it was kind of similar. It was this guy who had an implant. Again, it's so stupid, but it had an implant of like a radio in his head, and he had like out of one ear was like an antenna. And I see Mike, you're like searching for it, but and it was like him trying to like get away from these agents who were, and he was like a total like fool. And
Are you
the
sure
premise
it was
of the
Fox Hunt?
game,
No.
the premise of the game was, and it actually made more sense probably that for that one to be a game, was in the antenna you were basically telling him what to do. So like,
was it called Wirehead for the Sega CD?
Yes, it was a Sega CD. It was terrible. It was awful. It was so bad. But I do vividly remember playing that with my brother, and like it was bad because it was repetitive in the sense that like you had to direct him to go in one place or another, but if you didn't pick the right one, he would die or be captured, and that was the end of the game. And then it would go back, and it would have you do the same thing again, and it would just repeat until you got the right like order that it needed to go to. It was so bad.
And so I'm looking at the cover of this. It's got a MGM, Metro Goldwyn Mayer production on this, and it's a Sega True Video production, Wirehead. That's interesting.
I know what to pick for next month.
Right?
Oh, God.
All right. Let's go back to that one. We had to take that little brief going into full motion video game kind of things. I'm shocked, Rob, that you had one. I was thinking we'd get crickets with full motion video games. Who's played them? But back to Andrew. Why was the skiing so important?
Well, we're dealing with George Lazenby, and his one James Bond movie, On Her Majesty's Secret Service, had a lot of skiing scenes for very little reason.
Skiing, there was tobogganing and shooting, lots of skiing and tobogganing and shooting. Bobsledding, yes. I guess, maybe not tobogganing. I don't know the difference.
Yeah.
But yes, George Lazenby, the man, the reason we're here. Let's talk about him. Okay, so George Lazenby, yeah, I know it's just a cameo. He's not like in this thing. Like he's not the guy. He's not the Jim Carrey guy. He is he's the commander. So how effective was that? Like we got James Bond, but it's that James Bond as the commander. Do you think he was one of the shining moments? Did his parodies work? He kind of popped up in weird places, usually in costume. And it was kind of an interesting little role. He kind of got to be like the M and the Q at the same time kind of thing. He would kind of introduce what the mission was and kind of give things that could help you.
I had two thoughts. And the one was, damn, y'all needed money that bad, didn't you? And the other one was, it was sad because like he was the only one when he appeared on screen, I felt like he knew how to act.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Even when he popped out of the toilet.
Yes.
Like, just that you had to say that sentence.
Yeah. But I mean, could you see Sean Connery doing that?
I would love to, but no.
Well, that would be great.
I'd hate to be the guy that had to go up to George Lazenby and be like, well, for this scene, you're going to, it says here, pop out of a toilet.
Can I get an extra $100 for that one? Okay, I can. Sounds good.
Is it new or used?
Yeah, I mean, he definitely was the acting ability in this. But to go along with your point, Eric, there were a lot of nods to James Bond through him. Like at the very end when he just shows up and says, "Oh, hello," and then shoots the guy that Jack was just fighting. The gun that he's holding is James Bond's gun, Walther PPK, from like the early films, not the Pierce Brosnan type. So I was like, yes, that's his gun. And there's little nods like in the video. I don't think it's in the movie. I think it was only in the video game. There's a line that he actually uses that he looks at the camera and says, like the other guy, referencing James Bond. So I was like, oh God, here we go. But then like the skiing and everything. I mean, it was very much a nod to his short tenure as James Bond. And for some reason gave him an Elvis costume.
That had Bruce Campbell written all over it right there.
Yeah, it did. That's right. No.
I want to know if you guys picked up this. All I could think of whenever he showed up in a costume, in a toilet, etc., is all I could think of was Inspector Gadget and the chief who would pop up in weird spots from that. So I can't say it was an Inspector Gadget reference, being that this is like 1996. I mean, maybe Get Smart, maybe, who knows? But it had that. That's the vibe I got from him there. But no, he was definitely the best actor.
His best scene was as the Santa. Pennies, cheap bastard.
All right, let's try to salvage more of what might be good about this movie. Or maybe we'll like make that turn like Rob described and immediately just get captured or die or whatever. But anyways, let's take this turn and talk about the music, because they had some licensed like soundtrack music, like from bands, like from real bands. And then the score was by Mark Mothersbaugh from Devo, who also at the time was doing things like the Rugrats music and all sorts of like, you know, TV and movie music. So did the music stand out to you as being like a better part of it? Did you recognize any of those songs? Like, how did it contribute to the game and movie?
I gotta look something up here.
Rob's looking something up. He was going to say something too.
I mean, definitely there were a lot of times where they, again, parodied James Bond music. So it lent itself to more of the parody like genre through that. It did seem to bring a little more like production value quality to it too, because it wasn't just like, oh, there's birds chirping like like nothing important. But I don't think there was anything too jarring from the music side of things. I think it felt pretty regular, which was with a lot of these lower production TV ones, they'll just suddenly have a song blasting, and I didn't think I heard anything like that too out of place.
Yeah, I feel like I wanted to like it more, and I couldn't as much, but it was not like, it wasn't an offensive choice.
Yeah.
Like, I think because I knew going into it, I'm like, oh yeah, here we go, Mark Mothersbaugh. It's like, let's do this. And then it was like, it was good, but it wasn't like his best or anything special, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Rob was looking for something. Did you find something, Rob?
I found nothing.
I think that might be the review of this movie from some of y'all.
Well, I was trying to, because I watched the Devo documentary recently that was newly released on Netflix.
Yes.
That was a quality production. I highly recommend it to anyone. And it kind of, towards the end, gets to where Devo kind of started to phase out and they all went their own separate ways. And where I was going with this, when you were like, oh, Mark Mothersbaugh, I'm thinking, well, when did he do this? Because in the documentary, it talks about like when they split, he was like, I don't know what to do. I need to make money. I got to do anything. So I'm thinking, that's what he did. But no, I think that was many years. That's exactly, yeah. I'm just going to go with it. That's what he did. Yeah. Yeah, that's the ticket.
No comment, Mike?
Not really. I mean, most of the time I was just hoping I was getting closer to the end.
Oof. Oof.
Well, I said a similar thought. I had a similar thought. I was telling before you joined, Eric, it was, I don't want to sound mean, but it was so bad. While I was watching it, I kept hitting pause to see how much time was left that I had to subject myself to this film.
Oh man. Well, that's I think the perfect time to ask this question. Repackaging a game as a film is not something we have seen every day. That's a rare move for our rare cuts. Do you think that decision was the right decision? Did it give it that longer, like that extra boost? Or do you think that might have been the nail in the coffin for this weird game movie? Was it a good choice to make it a movie?
It made it easier to digest, because if you watch, again, playthrough video of the game, with it being PS1, so much loading time, I don't know that many people would have put in any effort for getting anywhere near the end. And then once you get into a fight scene and it's suddenly like, okay, I did this one, but this was wrong, so now I have to go back and do this one. Like the repetition just kind of kills any of those action scenes. So between the repetition and the loading times, it's like, why didn't you just make it a movie in the first place? Because I don't know too many people that were looking for interactive spy parody video games on the computer and the PS1 back then. Not a big audience.
I think it might be that, It's one of, I'll borrow Rob's famous line. You can polish a turd, but it's still a turd. And I think they knew they had a turd from like a script perspective, from the amount of talent they were going to be able to pull for this. And I think that they were probably able to get some sort of donor on board, just because they're like, hey, we got this crazy premise that isn't really done that often. And they're like, okay, that sounds great. This is going to make tons of money, but they knew nothing about the video game or movie business.
I think it was a wise choice that you called it a donor instead of an investor, because a donor does not expect anything out of it, when an investor actually hopes to get something back.
Because even if you tried to invest, that was going to be a donation anyway. No. Good point. I didn't catch that too. That's a valid point.
It was an excellent choice of words, Mike. Even if it was incidental, it was an excellent choice of words.
So let's. I'm trying here for Fox Hunt. I'm trying to get it something.
Eric,
I'm trying to get it something. Yeah.
Eric, you know me. I love really bad movies.
Yeah.
And
this one's really bad.
I mean, if this has not gotten some sort of like Razzie or something like that, I think it is unfair to say that Plan 9 or Troll 2 are like the worst movies ever made, because those are great. I love those. I'll watch them every day if I had to.
Yeah, this is it. Even like looking at its best parts, we've got plot holes and mess. But I'm gonna ask this question. Maybe movies like this and games like this. Let's talk about the games, because at the beginning, you guys did admit, a few of you did admit that maybe this thing was actually an impressive, ambitious project to try to make this game from a technical achievement standpoint. So these kind of games, and Wirehead, Rob, your personal favorite, did they do the like ugly early on work that has led to modern cinematic gaming? Like, a lot of video games these days look like a movie while you're playing them. Some really fancy ones. Can you see the direct connection in DNA, just like from dinosaurs to birds? Can you take Fox Hunt and draw the line to modern video gaming? Anyone see anything there? I gotta know. Come on, try something.
No. Well, I mean, what I do enjoy, and Netflix was playing with it for a little bit, where they had their kind of interactive movies. Yeah. There was like a Black Mirror, and I think a couple others where you were watching and and you got to make the decisions for the characters, and it's not full on interactive by any means, but I feel like maybe that's more digestible than all the random clicking and looking at stuff. I don't think that it was derived from Fox Hunt, though.
To me, it harkens back a little bit to Choose Your Own Adventure books.
Yeah, exactly.
But the problem with this era, like I was saying earlier with the camera technology, is it really gets in the way when you're like, okay, well, I have to pick something, and then they show the guy turning all the time. Like, you don't need that. I don't need to have it load a video of him turning to the left and then turning. Just go to the video where he walks up to the fridge and then the guy pops out of the fridge, which, if you didn't realize, was in the video game version.
Yeah, that's that intro.
That
intro from the video game is a little. It's a little slower, but I think it helps develop the beginning better, like you were saying earlier.
So just because you said that, I have to go on a little tangent here.
Sure.
So yes and no, because in the video game one, there's really no backstory of him getting kicked out of his apartment. At least not with the choices on the one that I saw. But
Gotcha.
so there's ways that they handle it that it's like, if I hadn't seen the movie, I wouldn't know what's going on, which is pretty backwards since the movie came later.
Yeah.
But they did have a thing that got cut out of the movie where, like I was saying, a guy pops out of the fridge, this Freddy guy that knows him, and is for some reason trying to attack him. And it's really a kind of a plot hole itself in the game, but it works better than Gary Coleman. And it's a lot funnier. It's very Three Stooges style. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff to try and say, why did you do this between the movie and the game? Like, a lot of weird choices.
It's a glorious mess.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm still trying. I got one last try to try to save this movie. So Mike, you brought up those Netflix like choose your own adventure things. I remember there's like a Kimmy Schmidt one that we played through. And there was a Puss in Boots one from like, the Shrek world. Yeah. So with those two, I remember like, it was like you would use it was like a this or that kind of situation. You'd only ever get like an A, B. But you still got to go through like a web.
Yeah, they did that with a Minecraft series too for kids. And I remember my kids were really into that for a bit.
Yeah.
So this is what I want to do. I know Netflix has kind of turned away from those, but let's make one. Let's make one. So how do we fix Fox Hunt for today? Do we make it one of those? Do we make it an actual video game? Do we make it a movie? So those are some choices that I'll let you explore. But what would you do to fix Fox Hunt? Who would you cast? How would you change the plot? How would you tighten things up? Pitch me a modern day remake of Fox Hunt. Bonus points for some form of interactivity.
All right. I have a thought.
Go for it.
So I think, what was his name? Jack Fremont?
Yeah.
You got it.
Jack Fremont. I think he needed to, I think they needed to, if they wanted to make this a better film, they needed it to focus more on clues in real films, real TV. I mean, I know there was some true to life, references to Rocky and other films and such, but they needed to do make it real connections to current or actual TV shows. There's a lot of made up stuff, and I think they needed to keep him to be more of I don't want to say a loser type character, but a loser type character, and have the Lisa, the FBI agent, be the more kind of strong character, and then she's protecting him as he's trying to find these clues in all these TV shows, and just focus on that. I think the part that I really got lost was when they tried to make him kind of this more strong character, and even kind of turned it. Lisa became this I don't want to say wimpier character, but kind of a less strong character. I think they needed to keep it simpler. It was just too much going on. Keep it simple.
I like your idea of focusing on clues set in real life more. The only thing with that I would be concerned if they tried to get too serious, because then we're getting into the territory of like the Da Vinci Code.
National Treasure.
National Treasure. And I just don't see that with it still having any of the elements of Fox Hunt. I think that it still needs to be goofy, but yeah, you could get a little more realistic, like Rob was saying. Just make sure you're still staying funny and not like serious movie.
I mean, if you look at it, the main premise of the movie is there was a Russian spy who created all this propaganda, bad television to make America dumb, and then made Russians dumb as well. Now everyone's dumb. Play up on that. I mean, they talk about it, but then it's like we don't see how it affected anyone else in America. People are kind of acting relatively normal about going about their day. We don't see anything from the Russian people. It's like, let's see some really dumb stuff happening in just the everyday world. I think the script writing could definitely be better, because just like the randomness, the script was incredibly random. But I mean, if I'm going to cast an actor like for today in this movie, I mean, I want someone that's going to be good with comedic timing, have good reactions, and play up the silliness of the character, and not come across as kind of a tool. Because again, I don't
doofus.
Yeah, I don't remember his name still. I mean, you've told me twice, and I'm never going to retain it.
Just remember this: he makes all Andrews look bad.
Yeah, but I think I would cast someone like Bowen Yang for this being like a feature film for him in a lead role. I could see him being pretty silly and really being able to play it up. But overall, just it needed a better comedic writing. It's supposed to be funny, I take it, based on what I watched.
It's supposed to be funny, I take it. I love it.
And so just play it up, have some actual comedy writers working on it, and maybe don't do drugs.
Oh man,
with the DARE program involved here.
So if he could save it, who would Willem Dafoe be?
I want him to be Frank.
Yes.
Who the hell was that?
The guy that was eating flowers and then whipping them with flowers and
yeah.
Don't
watch me. Don't watch me.
Again, I'm going to go back to it. I would like to see Willem Dafoe say the phrase nipple whipping.
That's at least 3 that we've said that phrase from this movie. At least 3.
He probably does that in his everyday life.
Oh my goodness.
Probably.
All right. I do have one more question that is only somewhat related to this movie. It's from
I won't watch it again.
Did anyone get
Me neither.
my Disney reference in this movie? There's one line that is pure Disney. It's very nerdy. I don't think you guys are going to know it.
Nipple whipping?
No, that has nothing to do with Disney.
That
is up to 4 now.
Hey, we don't know what Walt was into.
I mean, a line? I don't know if a line.
So I'll give it to you because you guys are going to be like, this is how
we're not going to get it.
This is how nerdy into Disney it is. But the first time I heard it, I went, that's Disney. So when Gary Coleman first gets taken in by the CIA They say that we're with the agency. And he says CAA, they've like they haven't been good ever since Ovitz left. Well, Michael Ovitz left CAA. This is like a real Hollywood thing. He was a Hollywood agent. He left CAA to become like Michael Eisner's second in command at Disney. He did a terrible job, but it's also the event that made it was like the straw that broke the camel's back for Jeffrey Katzenberg. And that's why he left and made DreamWorks. So like that little reference to Michael Ovitz is so Disney, because at the time it was like Ovitz had just started at Disney when that. But anyways, there's my Disney reference. It was a deep cut.
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna go with Timothy Bottoms, the guy that played Frank, because he was in Holiday in Handcuffs, which was an ABC Family movie.
I went straight to the top of the company in the 90s, but no, yeah. Yeah,
he was also the devil on the show Land of the Lost, if you remember that from Nickelodeon.
Oh yeah, Land of the Lost.
Yeah, that's where I know him from.
Classic. All right. Well, give me the zeros or whatever the scores are from some of y'all. I think Andrew will give me some points. But just some, I guess. All right. I'm gonna get my scoreboard up here and do your worst. Okay, so here's where when we bring it up here, we have the standings, the current standings, we shall say, which includes, but is not limited to, the Wild Geese starring Bond Roger Moore at 37 points, which I have a similar Roger Moore affliction where the complaint was that he wasn't in the movie enough. So I understand that part of it. Daniel Craig in Layer Cake, 47, and the Molly Maguires with Sean Connery at 45. So where does George Lazenby's masterpiece of a performance? Just kidding. Where does this movie Fox Hunt stack up? Let's find out. All right, here we go. All right, here we go. Rob, you're first up.
All right, I just want to clarify. We go from 5 to 1. We can't select 0, correct?
I mean, I don't know that. 0. Did we ever say?
No, there's no 0.
No 0. You have to give it a 1. Okay. Right. Do we have to make a new precedent for Fox Hunt? No.
Break the mold for this one. All right. So for rarity, I'll give it a 5. I never heard of this. I think this is where you're gonna get a pretty good sweep of some high scores here, Eric. This is definitely a it's a rare cut. Theme. Lazenby just wasn't in it enough. I mean, he was in it a bit, and he was definitely the best part of this, but he just wasn't in it enough. I'll give you a little mercy. I'll give you a 2.
That's a little mercy? Dang. I was like, a little mercy. He's going to give me a 3. And then he's like, I'll give you a 2. Oh, my goodness.
Hey, anyways. he was in it less than Roger Moore was in the Wild Geese.
That's true. But he's not in as much. But anyways.
But to be fair, the Wild Geese was like 5 hours long.
That's true. So even though he was only in 2 hours of it. No.
All right, so production value. And again, I'm going to try to set the stage of what I mean by production value is the film is made well. The direction, the music, the score, the film work, the cinematography is good. It was not.
Hold on, I'm going to make an appeal because they got a lot of value out of this production.
Yes, it's
because they paid
value,
for it.
I'm not looking at. I'm not looking at.
And then they made a movie out of nothing.
Value.
That was something that I forgot to bring up. Was their use of stock footage? Ed Wood would have loved that.
Yes, see, that's value. They saved big money at Menards making this.
Yeah, I was about to say this is not a Menards special here for in the $5 bin.
They got an 11% rebate. No.
Yeah. I need like a 99% rebate to go buy this film. So production value, Eric, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to give it a 1.
Ooh,
it was pretty bad. It was pretty rough.
I might beat the lowest score ever. with St. Elmo's Fire.
I mean,
what Rob Lowe film will you pick next?
I think I'm gonna pick a game for if I ever win a theme, which at this rate I won't. I'm gonna pick something called Rob Lowe Golf. You have to pick the worst Rob Lowe movie and get the lowest score to win.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Anyways, keep going.
All right, and enjoyment. It's probably going to come as no surprise. I already said that I was already pausing it to see how many minutes that had to go, and I think I cursed the time. I clicked pause, and it said like an hour and 20 to go, and the movie was only an hour and 40. So, Eric, I apologize, but I'm going to have to give it a 1 again for enjoyment.
This, I think, is the first time we've ever had a score that you could count on your fingers. So there's a 9. There's a 9. This one's going for a new low. A new low, Mike. What you got?
Okay. Rarity, it has to be a 5. I mean, it's a video game that was turned into a movie. It's just a lot of unique things going for it.
It's rare.
Never heard of it. Don't want to ever tell anyone about it. But here we are. Theme, I'm gonna have to go with, like I did with Wild Geese. Again, that's kind of where I'm getting, because I'm pretty sure I gave a 3 for Roger Moore. Roger Moore was in that film more than George Lazenby in this film, so I have to go 2. Production value, I'm going to be nicer than Rob, because I understand what they were trying to do, but they did not execute on it. They did not have the know-how of doing it properly, because when you're developing a video game, I mean, you have to take into consideration your hardware that it's going to be running on. And to hear about how slow things were running, to hear about how, you click on something and you have to watch a cutscene between, each step that is unnecessary. These are bad production values for a video game. But the fact that they kind of pulled it off, and they kind of pulled off taking what they had and morphing it into a movie, I think there's some production value there, and I will give it a 2. And
okay. Yeah. It's going to be double digits.
0.
Oh, unprecedented.
No, enjoyment, kind of the same as Rob. Like, I was looking at the timestamp, like, how much longer is this? Oh my God, I want to be done with this. This is quite possibly the worst thing I've watched in a very long time.
True.
So it's gonna be a 1.
All right. I think, unless Andrew gives it a perfect score, I think it has already lost to the historical score of why can't I think of it? Oh, St. Elmo's Fire.
St. Elmo's Fire.
Oh no, it's gonna beat St. Elmo's Fire.
Because was that before we had 4 categories?
Well, we had 4 categories.
Oh, we did?
And no, we had 3. Sorry, we did have 3 categories back then.
But yeah, it'll be good.
It'll be.
Don't worry, I'm your saving grace here. Because so when you say to score Fox Hunt, I'm thinking it's the whole production. So when we get to production value, I'm ranking the whole thing. But really, I feel like for everything else, I have to kind of lean toward the movie over the game, since I did watch both, because it really seemed like it should have been the movie, not the game, if that makes any sense.
For sure.
But so anyway, for rarity, to prove to you how rare this is, the main villain, the wolf, is a guy, Louis Arquette. You know what another one of his credits was? He was Leapin' Larry on Seinfeld.
Ah, that's a good
that
one.
where he thinks that jury's making fun of his limp. So I'm giving that a 5.
I love it. For Leapin' Larry.
Now, theme, I'm actually going to be a lot more generous because when I thought of this arc, I kind of thought of it as not just that you're picking a movie with the star, but that it's also trying to emulate at least a little bit of the James Bond vibe. And
this one had the most James
Bond.
This
one had the most James Bond vibe out of all of it.
I'll take that as a win.
I'm going to give that 4 for me.
A 4. I think you've been smoking the doobies over there.
I mean, like I said earlier, when George Lazenby was holding the James Bond gun, to me that was
James Bond Sidecars,
because it was James Bond Sidecars, not like James Bond actor Sidecars.
See, I understood the assignment. These other guys with their winning
I didn't bring it up because I didn't want to sound like I was just sour grapes because of what happened with Wild Geese.
That's okay. I understood the assignment too.
Yeah. So, like I said, production value, I'm taking in the whole thing. The whole thing was not just the movie. It was that they had the game, they had to somehow make it into a movie. They had to re-edit the whole thing all over again and film new scenes. So while the quality of the production was not high, they were basically making 2 projects at the same time. So I'm actually gonna again surprise everyone and say a 4.
See, now I'm starting to think that what if what really happened was they wanted to make a movie, and like this is some definite Ed Wood nonsense here, where they wanted to make the movie, but they didn't have enough or a big enough budget to pull off a full-length movie, and they're like, what if we do an interactive video game? We get our seed money and we start getting some of that revenue to turn it into a movie.
I did read that the company that worked with them saying, oh, you should make a trailer. They were like, oh, you should make a trailer. Here's money. So then they made a trailer, and then they said, okay, now we want you to make a movie. Here's more money. It seemed like somebody was just throwing money at them after they did the game. And it's like, okay, maybe that's why Gary Coleman showed up.
It's called money laundering.
Yeah.
It was a donation. All right.
But anyway, so enjoyment, I'm going to frustrate Rob and Mike on this one because this was right up my alley because of the humor of it. I mean, I honestly, I'm surprised, Rob, at your enjoyment score because it had a TV show title, Rod Girth.
Oh, yeah.
Private Dick in the City or something. I'm like, how does Rob not want this humor?
The good liner that I saw for a show was Haim and the Hibernator, which was like Hasidic Jew and the bear. That was the TV show with the bear.
Yeah.
I mean,
no, for me, that was the only thing that was somewhat enjoyable at the beginning. The rest of it was just.
I would say
they needed to have more TV references. Then I would have liked it.
I would say this. I think our enjoyment scores would have been higher if we had all watched it as a group together. Watching it singly and no one else around, and it's like you just have to consume this nonsense
in a vacuum.
Yeah. It's like you're looking around, no one's sitting to the left or right of you, and you're like, eh.
Like this movie at the midnight showing at the Music Box Theater downtown.
Oh my god,
that would
have gotten you a 6, but I will give you a 5.
Ooh, I love it. Oh, that's actually a good score.
So
I am impressed. So
It was right up my alley.
You almost doubled it. Now I have to do the mathing. So that is that an 18?
Yeah.
Wow. I'm impressed with
I'm
this.
telling you, you give me those titles like Rod Girth and Haim and the Hibernator, I'm all over it.
Haim and the Hibernator,
all right.
That was pretty good.
Now I have to math the mathings. So that makes it like
37.
37, yeah. 37, which actually means it tied the wild geese.
Hey, there
I'm
you
gonna
go.
I'm gonna go
That's
pop.
a win.
It didn't win nothing, but it tied the wild geese. And also, Andrew, you did that. No,
pretty much.
I mean, we both weren't gonna win, so at least I appreciate you not putting me out of my misery with Fox Hunt being at like a 0. So thank you for that.
Well, I also have to say that my favorite joke of all was when he's in the casino and the waitress keeps pulling out like a knife, a gun, and he keeps shoving it aside, but then she pulls out carrots and he says, "I'm allergic. You're trying to kill me."
That was
that sold me. That was a big part of why I gave it
that was a good one. That was a good gag, and that felt like something that would have been right out of Naked Gun.
Yeah. See, that would have hit it. Do you want to change your score at all, Mike? You want to like?
No.
Did you? Okay.
I'd rather watch. I think maybe that's part of it. Is like within the last month I watched Naked Gun, so.
You if you want to do anything, you can up my enjoyment score to a 2, just purely for Haim and the Hibernator TV show reference. If you want,
now you're just trying to insult wild geese
because it doesn't make a difference. Because the new theme of the Rare Cuts Media Society, and I couldn't say that, but I got to come up with. And Mike, you're usually quick with these. It's kind of like Rob constantly makes success or something like that. That's what RCMS stands for, because Rob is always winning. So Rob won again. This is 2 in a row for Rob. And here we are at his mercy all the time.
Rob conquers Media Society.
Right? Because he just keeps conquering. Yeah. Yeah. So what do we do next? Almighty Rob, who has the power going into so you have the power from last time going into the holiday season, and then you'll have the pick after that as well.
Again, congratulations to myself. All right, so we're going into the holidays here. So what we're going to do is we're not going to put a theme other than kind of do what we did last time. Someone gets a holiday. So I'm going to do the picking of who gets what holiday. We're not going to spoil it and say everyone, but I will award the October Halloween holiday to one Sir Jagoda. So he will get the pick for October. And good luck to you, Sir Jagoda. Find a good pick. If you have one now, please announce it.
All right. Well, since Rob cripples me sometimes, here's your RCMS.
Yes.
So I am going with the 1988, and I won't say it's horror. So Eric,
Good.
You might enjoy it.
Good.
But it is the film Lady in White.
Lady in White, not Lady in Red, like that song.
Not Lady in Red. Not. I think wasn't there a movie with Harry Potter, Lady in Black, or something? Not that. That's a real horror movie. No, Lady in White. You will recognize some faces. If I told you the names, you would say, I don't know who that is. But you'll recognize the dad from the Wonder Years.
Ah, yeah.
And you'll also, Rob, I know, will recognize, her actual name's Catherine Hellman, but from Who's the Boss, the mother and law or whatever you want to call her. There in the movie. So it's free to stream on Tubi right now as of the recording of this episode. So you can find it there. You can look, other streaming services also have it for rent. But of course, you can find physical copies at your library. I have the DVD. And I am required to say that this is one of my wife's favorite picks for Halloween, and usually she makes us watch it first or second every October for our little horror Halloween marathon. But again, it's not scary horror, so Eric, you'll be all right.
I just pulled up a page with some information about this movie, and it legit says the genre is horror mystery. So I'll be the judge of that.
You'll watch it and you'll be like, it's a good 80s pick. I'll just say that. So be sure to watch Lady in White from 1988 before you join us here next time on the Rare Cuts Media Society, where Rob always wins.
Where Rob always wins. That's the new tagline.